We are here in beautiful Sherman Heights to announce that the city has received a $750,000 grant from CAL FIRE to help us protect our trees and plant a lot of new ones. We'll be planting 500 trees along main corridors like 25th Street here throughout the city. And this grant also provides funding to hire consultants to conduct a citywide inventory of all of our street trees to allow the city to better manage its assets. And finally, the grant allowed us to better analyze the tree canopy coverage for the entire city. I'll let Cody and Jeremy explain the specifics, but good to see them. But the good news is that the new analysis shows that the city canopy coverage is much better than we initially thought. That is good news. We have a tree canopy coverage of approximately 13% of the city. That means we're making good progress, and today is all about making more progress on our climate action plan. And our goal is to have 15% tree coverage by 2020. Why is that important? It's important because when we plant more trees, we're making our neighborhoods more greener and more cleaner. And every additional tree gets us a step closer to reaching our goal of a sustainable future for generation of San Diegans. San Diego already has approximately 200,000 trees planted along our city streets. But we know that there is a lot more that we can and should do. That's why we are committed this year to plant 1,800 trees throughout the city. That includes 500 trees along the streets here in Sherman Heights, Lincoln Park, and Grantville, and other surrounding neighborhoods. As I said earlier, these trees are really going to help provide clean air and shade, as well as help beautify great neighborhoods. They are also projected to capture 7 million pounds of carbon over their lifespans. That's no small feat. So I encourage all of my fellow San Diegans to help do your part as well by planting a tree or two in your front and backyards, and of course caring for them. We can all help make a difference in improving our city's air quality. I really want to thank CAL FIRE for this very generous grant. I'd also like to thank Amy Fagey, Chair of the Community Forest Advisory Board, and the city staff for having the foresight to go after this grant. And notable among our city staff for their hard work on this was Leslie Henniger, Sergio Arias, and Jeremy Barrick. Thanks, guys. We really want to keep these grants coming. And of course, I want to thank West Coast Arborists who are here today for their work in planting trees. West Coast Arborists has done phenomenal work throughout the city of San Diego. And with that, I'd like to introduce Cody Hooven, the city's Chief Sustainability Officer, who's going to say a few words. Cody, come on in. Awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good morning, everybody. We often talk about our climate action plan in technical terms of greenhouse gas emissions. And those emissions are a currency or a metric in which we measure our climate action progress. But the outcomes we all look for are benefits to our neighborhoods and communities and continuing to improve the quality of life that San Diegans enjoy. Trees have so many wonderful benefits aside from the microscopic action of absorbing greenhouse gas emissions. For example, they increase property values, they capture stormwater, and create a shady, walkable street for sunny San Diego days like today. Plus, they can be mini playgrounds for kids, or at least they were for me growing up. With the recent assessment that Jeremy Barrick will talk more about, we've determined that our urban tree canopy cover is at 13% for the city. Our goal is our goal is to reach 15% by 2020, which means we're getting close. We're aiming for 35% by 2035. These are really ambitious goals in keeping with the overall ambition of our climate action plan. With technology such as LiDAR, better data, and a strategic vision for our urban canopy, we can make it. As the mayor said, we know we have work to do for trees and many other areas of climate action. And in the spirit of the Lorax from Dr. Seuss, because we care, we can do it. Thank you.
I like that. Quoting the Lorax is good. I like that, Jeremy.
Well, good morning, and thank you for being here, and I want to thank the mayor and the council for their leadership in the climate action plan. I think it's an exciting time to be in San Diego as we work towards this greener, cleaner environment. And, I like to think of trees as incredible multitaskers, and Cody listed out those benefits that they provide, and it's some of the hardest working infrastructure we have in our city. So you can imagine our excitedness when we got the preliminary results of the urban tree canopy assessment from the University of Vermont Spatial Analysis Lab that showed us that we had 13% canopy coverage throughout the city. And to explain how that's almost double our previous estimates, it really starts with technology. We use cutting edge technology in this new assessment using light detection and ranging, or LiDAR, data from the county that was collected in 2014. This data was able to identify every tree essentially within the city. Previous technologies would have used a sampling and were done at a higher level at 30 meters, and so it was a sampling that really missed independent trees or trees that were small in clusters. And with this new LiDAR technology, it's basically a laser scan of the city that collected everything, and we can take that and add it together, and that's how we arrived at, we have 13% canopy, which is very exciting considering the target of 15% by 2020. That's no small feat, though, to get to 15% by 2020, considering that that's about 1,800 acres of canopy coverage, which is about the size of Balboa Park. So we need trees to grow, and we need to plant more trees for that increase. This data also gives us the ability to identify our opportunities, so we can work smart and we can be intelligent about where we plant trees to increase the canopy cover. So we can look at things like the public right-of-way, public space and parks, and private property, and come up with appropriate programs and approaches. And so we need everyone to do their part in watering their trees, planting new trees in order to meet these goals. And it's my pleasure to introduce Lynette Short, CAL FIRE Regional Urban Forester, who's been an important partner and one of our strongest supporters. Lynette?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Just like what was mentioned from the mayor, CAL FIRE is providing a little bit of grant funding for the city to continue just a small piece of what they've set out to do. They've set some very lofty goals, and the greenhouse gas reduction program will play a real integral part in that, namely the urban tree canopy assessment, which assists the city in being able to come up to a baseline and figure out and make some really sound decisions on where to go and what goals to set in addition for their urban forestry program. And then it's also funding the trees that are being planted. But like I said, this is a small portion of what the city is doing. City set some lofty goals, which is very admirable. CAL FIRE is very happy to see San Diego taking some huge strides forward in comparison to the past. But essentially, all these gaps that they're filling in with these trees, in the long run, will serve the city very, very well. So we're filling in these gaps to create additional tree canopy coverage. But in the big picture of things, we need to be able to have this data so that they can make sound decisions for the future. And they're planning now 50 years in the future or so. So these trees that we're sitting here planting today may seem it's insignificant, but 50 years or so from now, for our future generations, it's going to be a integral part to the whole collective idea of what City of San Diego is doing to increase their tree canopy. So, and the other thing I wanted to mention is this takes not just the city and the mayor's office support, CAL FIRE, other partners that you see here behind me today, but it really actually takes a good understanding and some support from the residents. So I think, as Jeremy Barrick had mentioned, we need the support from the residents to understand and appreciate what these trees do for us. Continue to water them when you can, and support the city in their venture in increasing their tree canopy cover and working with their urban forestry program. So thank you guys for listening. And
You got it. Thank you. All right, guys, if you want to come in and start finishing.